What's up, everybody? Jack the Waiter here, back starting my very first series in this channel. What if Asta had fire anti-magic? So, if you guys saw my first channel, I was Jack. I will leave a description to one of my latest videos. What if Naruto was Madara's grandson? Part 2 or Part 1. So check the description now, and if you're new here, please go subscribe to that channel, and then come back here and subscribe if you like the Black Clover content and the Dragon Ball Z content. Now, if you're new here, this channel is focusing on Black Clover and Dragon Ball what ifs. And my other channel, Eyeless Jack, it's focusing on Naruto and My Hero what ifs. So if you guys want to see that kind of content, check out my first channel. I'll leave a description I'll leave a link in the description. And without further ado, let's jump in. So Asta in this timeline will be born with fire magic. And he will still have anti-magic because he had that in the canon, and it's pretty stupid to take that away. And I think it's actually pretty awesome that for Asta to have fire anti-magic. So, really, everything goes the same up until Asta actually finds out his fire magic at the same time Yuno does. Which means Yuno and Asta are a deadly combination, with Yuno's wind increasing the heat and the heights and the damage of Asta's fire. They are a deadly combination together. Asta still trains on his body though, because his fire magic is a bit weak, and he trains on his body just in case he ever runs out of mana. Which hearing about this idea, kinda, he's not really wrong about it. So does train on his physical strength. So Asta still has a 5 out of 5 physical strength, and in this timeline will have a 4 out of 5. Asta's mana will be a 4 out of 5. His mana sensing will be a 5 out of 5, and his intelligence will be also a 5 out of or a 4 out of 5. Due to telling and basically everyone else in the church where Asta grew up drilling into Asta that intelligence is the most important thing if he ever wishes to become a magical knight. So he has a 4 out of 5 for intelligence, and I'm going to leave it there. Now, what changes is when Yuno gets attacked by the guy who tried to stole his necklace. How that changes is that when Asta comes, he does a little fireball and shoots it. Seeing this, then makes a wind ball and shoots at the fireball, increasing it a bit enough to engulf the body part of the human. So, the guy's entire chest area, his entire belly area, is completely burnt, and he fell due to the heatness of it and the damage. Then he got the necklace and gave it back to Yuno. Here, Yuno, make sure no one takes this again. Yeah, thanks, Asta. Why are you down? It's just, I needed your help to defeat him. I had wind magic, and I could have defeated him myself, but I couldn't. As Asta said, don't make me slap you, You were strong enough to take it. You were just a bit sad. You were just sad because he took away the most precious thing for you, so you were kind of blinded. Yeah? How did you know? We grew up together, Asta. Or I would know. Now come on, let's head back home. And let's do some more training. After all, we got 10 more years until we become magical knights. Yeah. As then, 10 more years of training begins. With them getting their stats that they did originally. Except Asta is much more better. And has a 4 out of 5 in physical strength. So when they get their grimoires, Asta and get 4-leaf grimoires. It's just Asta has a fire. And when they leave, they get attacked by the two nobles, which the chain guy comes along, and Asta before he can get captured, breaks out of it or gets out of it, and still gets captured with Asta using his grimoire and using his first spell from it. Fire magic, flame spiral, or spiral flame, as he shoots spiral flames towards him. But that's still not enough damage, and then this battle kind of goes along for about 5 minutes until a random grimoire appears out of nowhere and smashes down near Asta. The grimoire then goes to Asta's grimoire and starts to merge with it. making the fire anti-magic. It's not gonna be a 9-leaf clover grimoire, but it's a 4-leaf grimoire, fire anti-magic. As Asta pulls a sword out and it engulfs in flames. What is this? Whatever. As then, the Asta's magic or his mana isn't gonna get stolen by the anti-magic sword because it merged with his fire magic, meaning that the user of that grimoire, his mana doesn't get depleted by it. So when he fights the chain magic, the chain magic guy, his chains don't do anything to Asta because of his sword. And Asta's like, wow, this sword. What is this? Some sort of anti-magic sword? As then he slashes it to the guy. And then turns around. And then says, fire magic, spiral flame, hitting him in the back. And then finally dealing the finishing blow. As then, that same badass moment in the first episode that happened with, it flashing his demon form happened here, and he took the final slash. Asta is also a bit taller in this timeline too. He's by Asta's or Yuno's chest. So when he saved Yuno from the magician, Yuno said, huh, I expected nothing less from my rival. You bet you. But what is this? What is this sword? I don't know, Asta. Here, let me lift it. As Yuno lifts it, but then he says, wait a second. My mana. As he dropped the sword and he dropped the one. Yuno, what happened? Asta, did your mana deplete when you hold that sword? No, I feel perfectly normal. Why? Huh. I saw that grimoire merge with yours. Is this some sort of anti-magic sword? That's what I said. But why do you think that? Because when I held it, it depleted my magic. What? So do you think I'm gonna use wind magic? Not a chance. Well... Huh, so you have fire anti-magic now? I guess there's one way to check. Come on, throw that wind ball you used to do when you were a kid. Sure. As, threw a medium-sized wind ball, and Asta slashed it, and he cut it, and it disappeared. As then stood there in shock, and Asta said, wow, you were right. This is an anti-magic sword. I guess I have fire anti-magic, Asta. How cool is that? That's amazing, Asta. Well, I suppose we should go train now. I'll help you with that anti-magic of yours. Okay, let's do it. But just know, even if you're training with me, I will become the Wizard King before you. Psh, not a chance. As then both of them head off to do their, 6 months of training, I think it was? So they train for about 6 months. Asta's interaction with that red hair guy still goes the same, and he learns better sword techniques. It's just that time isn't there, because if he was there, it wouldn't really change anything. So yeah. So Asta has fire magic in this timeline, and anti-magic. So when he's training for 6 months, he's not only training on his sword techniques, but he's also training on his fire magic and how to merge his fire magic with his anti-magic. Because that happened in, the fight with the chain magic guy. In this timeline. So, after 6 months of training, Asta was definitely able to get better sword techniques from that red hair guy. Better mana. Mana sensing is about 5 out of 5. His intelligence is about a 5 out of 5. And everything else from Asta is 5 out of 5. It's just where his hand-to-hand combat is pretty bad. His hand-to-hand combat is about a 2 out of 5. Because he relies on his sword and his magic a bit too much. Same with Yuno. Yuno is about a 3 out of 5. Better than Asta. Anyway, after that, they then head to the Magical Knights exams, where that changes a lot. Asta can basically stand up on the broom the same way Yuno can. And also, no birds go to Asta. None. He's the exact same as Yuno's. So he stands up on his broom just like you know. And when it comes to his magic, he does fire magic of fire beam, which is something I'm giving to Asta, which he shoots a fire beam towards the target, which then Leorion, I think that's his name, Leorion. Why does that name sound so familiar? I don't know. But basically, the fire captain guy, I don't know how to say his name, but he watches that and he says, a guy, someone with fire magic, eh? And he seems to have such good control over it. I see a lot of potential in him. I'll make him one of mine. As then the fights go similar. With no one really going with that same guy. What was his name? Seto? Or I don't know what his name was, but basically the nickname he's given by Asta, haha, that guy, never comes to Asta because, well, he has a 4-leaf grimoire. And when he enters, he says, when he enters and says what kind of magic does he have, Asta says he has fire anti-magic, which kind of confuses the guy, but the guy has like truth magic, so he's not really lying. So yeah. And when the fights happen, Asta fights a noble. Let's say this noble has ice magic. Or, nah. What's good against fire? Let's just say this noble has, this noble also has fire magic, and he wants to show everyone that this commoner can't stand a chance against him with his fire magic. Which Asta, he's like, yeah, okay, buddy. So, when they do their fire magic, they go into a fire magic spiral flame clash. But then, Asta says, heh, perfect. As then, he takes out his sword and engulfs it with fire. And then with his speed, without using any magic, goes behind him. And the noble looks at him saying, what the? But then he can't say anything else, as then he got slashed. And then fell to the ground. Because he slashed him at Asta was so fast, he slashed him 5 times. 2 times in the back and 3 times in both legs. So he fell to the ground. And Asta then said, let me finish you off. Fire magic. Gigantic fireball. As then he was shooting small fireballs, but they were colliding with each other. Increasing the size and the heat and the damage. Until it was practically big enough, covering the entire stadium, I guess, or coliseum. But not that big enough. As then he sent it down to him, and the noble eventually got engulfed in it, knocking him out. As then everyone was like shocked due to this. That wasn't even a magic that anyone could do. Not even the fire captain could do that. And Asta then said, oh. As then, the captain said, how did you have that magic? I don't even have that, and I'm a captain. Oh, I created that magic. As everyone was shocked. He created that? And then he asked him, what about that sword? Oh, that's part of my magic. I have fire anti-magic. Fire anti-magic? Yami asks questioningly. Yeah, basically I have magic, fire as you saw, and I have anti-magic. But it's on the sword. Anti-magic basically allows me to slash through any magic at all, or send it back. That's amazing, everyone thought. As then, I said, well, I'll be heading back now. See ya. As then he head back to the stance. Everything else from that went the same. It's just Asta's picking. All the captains raised their hands for Asta. But Asta, in this timeline, chose the Crimson Lions because they had fire magic, and if he was around more people with fire magic, it would help him with his fire magic. So yeah. Anyway, with all that out of the way, that has been What If Asta Had Fire Anti-Magic Part 1 of my new channel, Jack the What Ifer. Anyways, with all that out of the way, I hope you guys enjoyed this What If. If you did, please make sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe. And if you want a Part 2, let's get 1 like. 1 like, because this is a new channel, nothing too major. 1 like. Anyways, I'll see you all later. Peace.